Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. This is Violet's studio, I think is what I'm calling this one. And today, who I have with me is Christina Morris. And Christina is just about ready to graduate from Sacred Priesthood in about 2 to 3 weeks as a Sacred Priestess. She had started this journey on February 2019. And today we're in May 2020. So the path takes about, I would say, like a year and a half to complete all of that. So it's been an amazing journey. So I wanted to spend some time today talking with Christina about her experience and what this has been for her along this path. So welcome, Christina.
Thank you.
So I know you were drawn and called to this path from the very beginning. You really felt called. And I also remember you saying you weren't sure really what it was all about. You just knew that you needed to step in and take it, which is where most people start. I had somebody texting me today. She goes, I'm being called. I have no idea what it is, but I'm called, right? It's the universe calls us to step in and to take this journey. So what would you like to share with people that might be considering taking this class, or what they could think about, or just what it's been for you walking this path?
Well, for me, this path is, it's really hard to put into words. It has changed my life in so many positive ways. When I first heard of Sacred Priesthood, I remember walking in and Corinne was there and she said, you need to take Sacred Priesthood. And I said, I know. I don't know what it is, but I'm signing up for it. And I immediately felt an instant connection to Corinne as well. I know I've known her. The minute I saw her, I was like, I know that woman. I do. Hard to explain. And so being on this path, when I was little, my grandma, who passed away a few years back, she always called us white witches. And I don't consider, as being part of this path, we're not witches. We're priestesses. We're here to lift the vibration of the collective and of the planet, and really mindfully change the way that we see things can help change the way that others, perceive their life. And I've taken something from every single month of this class. There has been something that I've been able to take away. There's been a lot of information, and I have found myself now being near the graduation, going back to a lot of the, books and the months, and certain things are starting to pull me in different directions. And they're things that I don't even remember learning in that class, but all of a sudden being drawn to it and embracing it, and now knowing how to fully jump into these areas, with flowers. That was one of the, that was the first class when you taught us, bringing in our own flowers and picking them out ourselves, and what the meaning of that was. Now being in spring and being at home and with what we're dealing with now, and really setting up my garden and mindfully setting it up and understanding the meaning, I never would have thought that. I would have just gone off of the beauty of the flower, not what the meaning behind it is. Just gardening is a whole nother aspect now. And everything that I do is, I'm so mindful for it. Everything that I say, there's just a new meaning to it. There's meaning behind everything. And I'm more consciously aware of my actions, my words, and what I bring into my life. I really stop and I think, and I just know that there's something behind all of it now. Does that make sense?
It does. And you even talked about, even at work, because of the shifts in energy of your changes, you've noticed shifts and changes to the people you work with on, what, just their approach and everything around that you've noticed big shifts even there because you've shifted, their energy has shifted as well.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. The craziest thing actually was 2 weeks ago. It was the week after our last ceremonial class. And, the virus has a lot of, we're an essential business, and Mike, the owner, has, he's very much just business, business, business. And he had a stressful moment and he kind of lashed out at me, and I'm used to that. I'm the accounting manager, so delivering and talking about money is never a good conversation. It just can't be. And he actually called me an hour later and used the words, "I'm sorry." I never, in the 18 years that I have known this man, I didn't know those two words were in his vocabulary. I've never heard him say those words, and for him to say that to me was the biggest positive shift in my workplace outside of home. I was just on cloud nine after that. It really showed me that all the work that I've done and the light that I bring in can change even the darkest person, or the person that you would least think that could make any sort of positive shift. What it just does to the people around you is it's awestrucking.
Well, it's been interesting because I learn along with you guys. So when we have classes and we step in, Spirit's always channeling to me. They're always downloading information, instructions, guidance, and doing this. And the one thing that's been really clear for me in the last 6 months is all this work we do to step into the light is not just for us. It's for everyone that's connected to us, our loved ones, our family, our friends, our coworkers, our neighbors, our community, our humanity. The more of us that step into this awareness, raising our vibration, moving into a different consciousness, allows more and more and more people to connect to that light. And what we don't realize is even walking through the grocery store, the light that we beam has an effect on the person in the aisle with us that's shopping. And we may not always know what that effect is. And for those watching, this path is about beauty. It's about sacredness, and it's about service. And so when you step into those three energies and you become those energies and you become that for other people, you watch people around you change. And it's like, whoa, wow. Like, I didn't do it. I didn't make them do it. It's just being in that awareness. And one of the things that you've talked about is your whole perception of the world has changed, right? And all of you on the path talked about it, because I ask you guys all the time, what's happening, what's going on with you? And your perception of everything has changed. How you look at everything, right? And you talked about flowers, and I think that's beautiful. But when we step on this path, we think about how we cook. We think about our flowers. We think about what we wear. We think about ceremony and ritual and everything. We think about everything that we do shifts and changes as we start working with these energies. So what do you think, what were some of your favorite classes as you look back?
I love them all, but I think my most favorite was Magic and Prosperity. The energies and the shifts and all of that. And then the connection that it also brought in. I almost feel like once we hit Magic, Nikki always said that's where the fun starts. And we were so excited, but I feel like that's where the deeper connection came for all of us that were on this path together. It's almost like it brought us together. That's when we really started sharing with each other more what was happening in each other's lives. And we really started to come together on a deeper level and know how we could shift each other and bring each other up at that point. So I do have to say that, magic was my favorite for that piece. And also, being able to kind of ask questions for myself, and where am I supposed to, what path do I need to go down now? What is, asking my life questions, and being able to bring in that candle magic and have those confirmations that way too was a real turning point. And then prosperity, where you talk about everything shifting and magic in our cooking. And like I said, I have meaning now behind everything that I do. That there's a purpose and a meaning for me. But the prosperity, it's getting rid of all that material. Prosperity is not just in money. I don't feel that anymore. That there's so much more that we can be prosperous in. Love and relationships and friendships and all of that, there's so much more behind it than just money. But when you do have that vibration lifted and you see past that, the abundance, the financial abundance comes in different forms, and it really does show itself, where you start to get more creative to bring that financial abundance in. That also in turn, the more abundant we are in finances, the more we can give back and be of service as well. So I would say those two are my most favorite.
Well, and I love the fact, it really touched my heart when we had class last month, and all of you were like, we don't want this to end. We don't want this to be the end. And me sharing that it's not the end, it's just the beginning of your walk, your journey of where you're going to specialize in, where you're going to bring in all these energies. But also, we've talked about going further of having temples where we all come together and work. And we've talked about having beautiful priest and priestess balls where we bring our partners in and celebrate once a year, because I don't want it to be the end. And I've also talked about down the road having priestesses and priests come back if they want to and follow the path, because I think it would be really supportive of the group to have people there that they can go to, because they don't always want to come to the teacher, but they want guidance and support on this path. Like, how was this for you? And what did this do for you? So I see us down the road having people walk the path again with others. And I know for me, like you said, going back through the books and seeing stuff, when I took this journey with priesthood, I did it 3 times. And you still grow and expand, even though it's the same teachings, because there's stuff that comes in that you're like, oh, I didn't remember that. Or I wasn't ready for that at that time. Now I'm ready and I see how it all fits together. It's just from a different perspective. Because I think when you walk it the first time, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's right around the corner. When you know what's coming in, it's like, okay, I know what she's going to be doing. So some of the other fun stuff we do on this path is we connect to dragons and fairies and mermaids and unicorns and all that. Prior to Sacred Priesthood, had you worked with any of these divine beings, and what has that experience been like?
I personally never worked with the divine beings, but I've always known that they were there. I think that's the other thing that this path does is when you know there's so much more to life the way as us in the physical world see it, this path really gives you that confidence and reassurance that you were right all along. It is all there. And this past weekend, actually, and with Beltane, I've been working a lot with the fairies, and my daughters and I made, fairy charms and fairy gardens yesterday. And the Ava, my youngest, put jelly beans and sugar candies in her little fairy garden. And then this morning was so excited because she saw that the fairies had moved the table over and took a little nibble of the jelly beans. And, some people might think that that's crazy, that it's not possible. No, I got so excited and just reminded them, that they are there. And even though you physically can't see them, it's the magic, it's the power, the beauty that they bring in, the fun. So that's, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, our center is so wrapped around fairy energy because I've worked with the fairies for a long time, and we have fairy doors throughout the center. And, I remember even Jason, when he first came, he didn't really have a belief. And one day he comes back and he goes, will you tell your fairies to quit yelling at me about the paper towels? They think I'm using too many paper towels. And then he's like, people, the fairies are real. They're real. They yell at me all the time. And they do. They're very much protectors of the planet. They don't want us to use too much water. They don't want us to use too many paper towels. That's the reason we use dishes at the center instead of paper products, because they really want us to be mindful of what we're doing to the land, the earth, because that's really important to them. And so working with the fairies is really powerful. And, I've had Francine at the center. She's like, I thought we had a rat around here. And I'm like, I don't think we have rats, because I kept seeing flashing lights running across the floor into the fairy doors. And she goes, it didn't dawn on me that it's the fairies running in and out of the center. And she goes, I would see something out of the corner of my eye scoot across the floor. And she goes, I just knew. And I'm like, no, it's the fairies. And the mermaid energy, the beautiful mermaids that come in, that connect us to the sea magic and get us to really understand the water elements and what that's about. So we also bring in all those divine beings so that everybody gets to connect with all of them and have this personal relationship, which I think is super, super magical. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So what's been the big benefit for your family? If you really thought about, because I know your family has really benefited, your husband and your daughters, from this journey. What have they said or they noticed about you? What changes have they noticed?
The positivity, the energy shift, is one of the biggest things. Scott, my husband's always been a big supporter of, all of this stuff that I, believe in and that I embark on. And I'm truly grateful for the support in that. And I think he's gotten to where I've noticed he has taken a lot of my traits and acts upon them now too, the way that he likes things picked up and, how we utilize certain things. So I've seen a lot of the way that I want things done in my home and in my life. He now actually does that, and I think he does it without even realizing it. And then my girls, just the more playful and the more outspoken they are of the things that they see and believe in, and I appreciate that. Scott is very much like Tom. He's very scientific, and I don't think I really believe in this, but he's so supportive. And I really think that they, without knowing subconsciously, it's all there and it's sinking in slowly but surely. And the girls just, Scotland, my oldest, calls this, mommy's doing her magical juju stuff again. And but then she wants to be a part of it. She loves the moon ceremony that you did last month. She's like, Mommy, can I do that with you every time you guys, have that? And I said, absolutely. I mean, they really want to do all of this now. And I really see them taking this class from you, in the future, or from whoever, will continue this legacy on for you afterwards. These kids are going to be a part of it, and their energies and vibration have shifted so much and have lifted so much. And they're okay with being different. I feel like so many kids struggle with that. And, that's why we have the bullying and the problems that we have with children today. But being a sacred priestess and living the life that I live now, my girls are not afraid of different anymore. They embrace it, which I love.
I think that's awesome. And I look forward, several of you have children that I think will eventually, step onto this path. I have grandkids that are taking this path, and my daughters are on it too. So makes it pretty amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today and share your insights. I've loved watching your journey. I've loved watching, the one thing I remember is in the beginning, you took Tess Whitehurst's magical housekeeping book and literally went chapter by chapter and shifted your whole house. And so not only my teachings, but the books I bring in that you guys, resonate with and bring into your lives are really powerful. There's just been so much positive good for every one of you that stepped on this path that it just warms my heart to see that. So thanks for taking the time to chat with me about this. Thanks for trusting me on this path. I loved having you on this journey, and it was such a delight.
Well, thank you so much. And I love having you as a teacher. And I will say, the classes that you continue to teach after all of this, I'm still taking. I just did your 7 sacred ways of living. And even though we learn a lot of that through this Sacred Priesthood course, it's still so nice to still have those, because you realize the little bits and pieces that you might have gotten about. It's just a reminder and a refresher as we continue to take more of your courses, which are so addicting because you're an amazing teacher. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching today. I hope that if you're called, because most of us are called to this path, if it's calling to your heart, if it's calling to you, that you'll really take a moment and look at it, consider it, think about it. It is a commitment. It's a commitment of you. It's a commitment for you to step on the path. It's a financial time commitment too, but it will definitely change your life in so many ways. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you really soon. All right, so now let me see here. Stop the recording.
Discover connection, awaken sacredness, become empowered. Come experience the difference and discover your spiritual gift.